So you're thinking about making a move to Phoenix, Arizona, and you want to know, what are some of the myths that you always hear whenever you tell people that you're moving to Phoenix, or, looking up online about, hey, if you're moving there, you're going to see snakes all the time, right? So stuff like that. So in this video today, we are going to debunk the top 10 myths and some of the experiences that I've had, with living here for over 4 years down here in Phoenix. So without further ado, guys, let's get started with number one. Now, the very first myth that we have to debunk, and I don't know why I thought this, but I thought you could go swimming all year round here in Phoenix. Now, you definitely can, but the only way that you're going to do that is if you have a heated swimming pool. If you do not, the pool temperature usually gets down to like whatever the low is. So for example, like in December and January, it gets down to like 45 degrees. So the pool can be like somewhere in there, 50 degrees. So unless you have a heated pool, you are not going to be swimming all year. I don't know if it was just like a lack of research that I did, but I thought, you could sunbathe all year and, just jump in the pool, do cannonballs, all that stuff, all throughout the year. That is definitely not the case. Unless your pool is heated, your season's only going to be from about like, let's say April through about October. Now, the second myth, and I honestly, when I was moving down to the desert, now where I'm at today, it's a little brown, but I literally thought like the entire Phoenix area was just covered in brown. There's no greenery. I moved down here from the Midwest, so I love seeing trees and grass and stuff like that. You'd really be surprised at a lot of neighborhoods that they have a lot of landscaping out front. They have turf. Honestly, a lot of houses actually have grass down here too, which honestly I was very surprised. Just driving through. But there's so many like trees and palm trees and just like a lot of like shrubbery all throughout the Phoenix Valley, especially if you're living in areas like Chandler or Gilbert or like the Ahwatukee area. There's literally plants and trees and grass everywhere. Not to mention that, there's also like a lot of like man-made lakes down here, like go down to like Ocotillo or the Islands or Val Vista Lakes. There's actually a lot of blue here too, even though we're in the desert. So there's definitely a lot more greenery and a lot more lakes than you would think down here in Phoenix. Now the third one, I'm sure this one will be a surprise. I honestly thought I would see like snakes and scorpions everywhere. Guys, I've been down here for almost 4 years. I've seen three. I've seen 2 snakes and 1 scorpion, and the scorpion was actually at my aunt's house in Las Vegas. So down to really 2. One of the snakes, I was just driving, I was playing talking stick golf course, and just driving down, I saw, like a snake just slithering by. So had no association with it at all. He was doing his thing. I was driving to my ball in the fairway, right? The other snake that we saw, it was like on our door frame. So we walked, he went away, and everything was fine. So in almost 4 years, I've only seen 2 snakes. So you really don't ever really see them. One thing you do know, especially if you're down here in like the Ahwatukee area, or if like your back is, up against like a mountain preserve or something like that, you're gonna see a little bit more coyotes and like javelinas every once in a while. But I literally thought that I would see snakes and scorpions literally everywhere, and that is just so far not the case. I've only seen 2 in 4 years. Now the fourth one, with how many golf courses down here there are, I thought it was going to be really, really easy getting tee times and like playing like whenever you want. Honestly, that is very far from the case, especially it's starting to turn a little bit cooler down here. It's the winter time coming into the fall. And if you are not booking at least like a week or 9 days beforehand, you will not be teeing off anytime before about 1 p.m. And if you are and you're booking late, you're probably not playing, the most sought after course. So there are, more like affordable options down here. But in general, if you do not book your tee time a week to 10 days out, it's gonna be really, really hard getting on. So definitely one of the most frustrating things about living here. The weather's so beautiful this time of year. It kind of makes up for it with, it's a little frustrating because of how busy it is, right? There's so many people that they literally just flock outdoors as soon as it gets below 80. And there's just so many people that come down here for the time. I really thought it was gonna be easy to get tee times. It's really not. If you're single, it's not terrible. But if you have a foursome and you need to play in the morning, you got to be getting up at midnight to get that booking reserved. So just a couple things to keep in mind. If you like this video so far, guys, make sure you click the like button and comment down below. I want to know your thoughts about what are the first 4 myths that I've debunked and kind of my experiences as well. So comment down below. But guys, if you are thinking about making a move to the Phoenix area, we hear from people every single day that are just like you, thinking about making their move. We absolutely love it down here. We moved from the Midwest about just under 4 years ago, so from Nebraska. So we absolutely love it here, and we want to help you change your life and make your move down to Phoenix, Arizona as smooth as possible. So pause the video. Down below is our contact information. Email us, text us, call us, whatever's best for you. We'd love to help you, start your new life here in the beautiful and sunny Phoenix, Arizona area. So number 5 is the honestly most biggest one. that there are no seasons down here. That literally could not be, I don't think it's further from the truth, right? So I came from, the Midwest, where you're used to, like spring and fall is really, really nice. Summer's really hot, winter's really cold. Like, they're very, very different seasons. So Phoenix, everybody says there's no seasons down here. There 100% is. You can definitely tell that, the fall time finally starts to cool down a little bit. The winter time, actually, it really gets chilly. As you can see, like, I'm wearing a jacket and pants. The daily high is only about 60 to 65. So you can definitely tell that there's a, change in season. The weather's absolutely beautiful down here, I'm sure, as you have researched. And then obviously the summer, not ideal. But the fact that people say that there's no change in season, that could not be further from the truth. There is 4 definitely distinct seasons. They're just a little bit different than, changing seasons back in like Minnesota, Wisconsin, or, probably the Pacific Northwest as well. All right, number 6. So yes, the weather is absolutely beautiful. So most people think that the only people that live down here are just fully retired. Again, that just could not be further from the truth. You have young areas of town all over the place. Like, if you're in like the Tempe area, obviously you got ASU, but then a lot of people stay around Arizona State, after they graduate. So that's a super young area. Scottsdale, with all the clubs, and that's just like, that is the place to be. All the, restaurants and bars and everything like that. So Scottsdale, super young area. But then you also have like the Roosevelt district in northern downtown, as well as kind of like the uptown and midtown area. So there's a lot more. Oh, look at these little birds. I thought it was a snake. Debunking our myth earlier. But honestly, guys, there are so many more people down here, and young people. So, with a ton of opportunities. So if you're thinking about making a move and you're younger, there's definitely stuff to do. The retired people, they kind of have their own distinct areas. You got like East Mesa, Sun City, out in Buckeye. So there's definitely distinct areas of Phoenix. So not everybody down here is retired. This was kind of a funny one, but I'm sure you guys know there's 5 million people that live here. So not everybody's retired, but it definitely is a myth that it's just a retirees playground, and that is not the case. Number 7. So this one, just from like my video alone, you can tell that everybody thinks that Phoenix is just a flat desert. That was my depiction. I literally just moved down here because I knew I was going to move down here before I even stepped foot down here, just watching the Weather Channel every day in February. But I literally thought that Phoenix was just like dead flat. And like, I mean, obviously, as you can see, it's just further, this could not be further from the case. Phoenix is down in a little valley, right? They call it, everybody down here calls it the valley. You got East Valley, West Valley, but you got literally mountains all over. And it's honestly one of my favorite parts about living in Phoenix, because if you live in, especially in like central Phoenix, or obviously down in the Ahwatukee area, like look how much like playground, you can do anything out here. You can mountain bike, you can, I don't know if you can take like your little buggy or not, where I am right now, but you got like mountain bikers coming here. So that cannot be further from the case of just Arizona is not flat at all. Especially if you go up into like Flagstaff or Sedona, that gets up into like 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 feet, and you got huge mountains up there. So Phoenix is not flat. The entire state of Arizona is not flat. It cannot be further from the difference. So very diverse desert here in the Phoenix area. The number 8 myth is that, Phoenix is so spread out that there's no traffic. Guys, if you are living along, if you choose to live along like I-10, Interstate 10, and I-17 is kind of crazy too. But if you're living along those 2 major highways, guys, you are going to hit a ton of traffic. They're trying to do things to alleviate that right now. They're talking about, building a couple projects way on the further west side to take all that traffic out. But it is very, very important to make sure you live in the right area. And guys, this is what we do. So guys, again, please pause the video, reach out to us. Be happy to help you to decide exactly where to move. But there is a lot of traffic. Yes, it is very spread. So if you're living in like Gilbert Chandler, driving on the 202 or the 101, it's not terrible in the suburbs, but as soon as you start getting more into town, it can get very, very congested. So just be aware of, high times. And again, if you need help where to live to avoid traffic, let us know, because it can definitely get really bad. Where we live, we kind of always go against traffic, so it's not terrible, but you just have to be aware that if you're living in the wrong area, you are going to hit major I-10 traffic. It is terrible. I do not like that highway at all, so I try to avoid it at all costs. So there definitely is traffic, even though of how spread out the city is. Number 9, our number 9th myth. When I was moving down here, I really thought that every house had like a huge lot because of how spread out the city is, right? Like I'm from, the Midwest, where there's literally land, rolling hills everywhere, right? So a little bit larger lots over there in the Midwest. Definitely not the case here. These builders, especially with how fast Phoenix is growing and just how big it's gotten, they are trying to get as many homes in as many as tight of areas as possible. So you'll see it especially a lot in like new construction. A lot of these homes are really, really tight together. You know, if you're living in areas like Glendale or, you know, maybe like the older part of Phoenix, especially like the older, it was like the old new part of Phoenix, right? Or Glendale, you will be able to find a little bit bigger lots, but most lots down here that we see when homes are for sale is about like 1/8 of an acre. So, you know, really, really, really tight. And a lot of these homes are really, really tight together. So just some things to be aware. Again, I thought it was gonna be super spread out, these massive homes, thinking like Dallas. That it could not be further from the case. They're trying to get as many homes as fast as possible here in the Phoenix metro. Now, the last one, and probably the most important myth that we hear a ton, there was just a story in the news, is that Phoenix is running out of water. Guys, that could not be further from the case, and I'll make a couple points here. Obviously, I'm not a water expert, but I gotta stay tuned to the news to help you guys, you know, educate you as much as possible. First of all, Phoenix has used the same amount of water as they did back in the 1950s, you know, when there was only about 1 million people here. They've gotten really, really good and efficient with how well they are using their water here. A couple other points, you know, many people think that, okay, the Colorado River is definitely drying up. Phoenix is only relying on that for about 1/3 of our water. Phoenix, it's a lot more diverse about where they get it. They have huge, you know, underground storage where they're storing the current, you know, 5 times as much water as we're using right now. Phoenix has it stored. And another area that, you know, you can buy with confidence down here is that you have, in order for like a subdivision to be built down here, they have to be able to prove for the next 100 years that they can get water to the subdivision. So you will not be able to build a new house unless you can prove that as a developer. So, you know, the Central Arizona Water Project, you know, they're getting way more efficient. You know, residential use like in Vegas, right? They're very, very strict. You can't like water your yard. It's getting crazy over there, right? That is not the case. There's no restrictions on anything down here in Phoenix, Arizona for now. That could always change, right? And I think it probably should, right? Grass is aesthetic, just go to turf, but there's no rules on it for right now. So that is the 10th and final myth, probably the most important that I get called on down here in Phoenix. So guys, again, if you like this video, click the like button, comment down below, and then guys, subscribe to our channel. We cover everything there is to know about moving to Phoenix, different neighborhoods, where to live, all that good stuff. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this video, debunking the top 10 myths here in the Phoenix area, and go check out the other videos on our channel. Reach out if you guys need help moving to the area. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.